Good morning. I am constantly reminding people to make sure you look over at the left hand and don't focus too much on the right hand. I tell people to pull back constantly. Pull back, reassess the situation. And when I say the situation, I mean everything. Everything from A to Z in your life. You need to constantly step back, take a big picture view, and then start going in and dealing with the macros and the micros, because the big picture view goes way beyond macros, right? The big picture view has several macros in it. And then Lord knows how many micros can be in with those macros. So always pull back, take another look. Never get set too much in one mindset. Be ready to adapt and to be able to change depending on the situation. You have to do these things. These things are imperative to survival and in any type of survival situation. If you get yourself too focused on one set of things, you're going to get taken out by something else. I always tell people it's not what you know that kills you, it's what you don't know that kills you. That's what gets you, is what you don't know, not what you know. And that's why I always encourage people to educate themselves as much as possible. Because again, it's what you don't know that kills you. So while we're all watching, and rightfully so, the situation going on in Israel, a lot of us have kind of pulled, myself included, have pulled attention away from the situation with Russia and Ukraine, and it just makes sense. But at the same time, I put a little post-it note up in my brain to keep checking back on Russia, Ukraine, because right now is the perfect time for them to get away with doing whatever the hell they want to do. And I'm not talking about Russia, by the way. I'm talking about Ukraine, and I'm talking about all the countries that are supporting Ukraine. Right now is the ideal time for them to start writing blank checks and doing anything that they want to do, because for the most part, all eyes are on Israel. So I have been covering in the recent days, there was a pipeline that was damaged, there was an undersea cable that was damaged, and I've covered this on a couple of reports so far. And last night when I spoke on it, I said that initially when it came out, I kind of wrote it off, I just, oh, okay. And then pretty quickly they came back and said this was sabotage. This was not an accident, this was done on purpose. And, that's all I got when it comes to that. I'm not going to sit there and try to throw accusations. I'm not going to sit there and make up a bunch of stuff. That's what the prepper channels are for. I am going to tell you what information is out there and on the table that we know as fact, and go from there. So an article, again, warnews247.gr, incredible website. I will link them again in the description with this article. You will have to translate the website from Greek to English or whatever language that you do speak. And hey, save yourself a step if you speak Greek. But I'm lucky to know the amount of English I know. So we won't be going Greek, yo. I saw this article this morning at NATO war preparations. Britain deploys 20,000 troops in Northern Europe. Sweden, Estonia, telecommunications cable tapped. So again, we're all watching the right hand really, really close right now. And I think the left hand is about to get busy. Says Britain is deploying 20,000 troops along with an aircraft carrier, helicopters, 8 ships, and fighter jets across Northern Europe in one of the biggest military deployments in history. Now, I want to make a specific point that it doesn't say one of the biggest military drills. It says one of the biggest military deployments in its history. You might want to take note of that. This development comes as the undersea natural gas pipeline, Baltic Connector, a telecommunications cable connecting Finland and Estonia was destroyed, and a few hours ago it became known that a telecommunications cable connecting Sweden to Estonia was also damaged. All three are considered and are critical infrastructures of NATO. It is noted that NATO is also looking for ways to strengthen its forces in the Black Sea with the NATO Stolas mission. Britain plans to boost its military presence in Northern Europe to help protect vital infrastructure at a time of growing concern over Russian sabotage operations, Reuters reports. Britain will send 20,000 soldiers, sailors, marines, airmen, along with 8 Royal Navy ships and a squadron of fighters and helicopters to help protect critical infrastructure. Well, that's a whole hell of a lot of troop movement, I'm telling you. It is clear that this great military development of Britain is not intended for infrastructure protection, but for war with Russia. See? Even myself, I thought, yeah, that Russia thing's such a back burner thing right now. And I honestly felt that way. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak met with other leaders on the sidelines of the Joint Expeditionary Force Summit on the Swedish island of Gotland in the Baltic Sea. Britain has said it will take part in large-scale exercises in several countries and conduct air policing and polar weather warfare training. JEF, a defense cooperation group between the Scandinavian Baltic countries, the Netherlands, and Britain, was meeting days after a pipeline and data cable in the Gulf of Finland were destroyed by external activity, sparking security concerns in wider Nordic region. This week we have seen once again that our security cannot be taken for granted. It is vital that we stand against those with malicious intent, Sunak said in a statement, adding, while Putin has lost significant ground in Ukraine, not true, since launching his invasion, allies and partners should not be lulled into a false sense of security. Whoa, hold up, because it's not been going good for Ukraine. I don't understand where even a remote claim of this is coming from. Man, I don't know. Now this here says next year. Rishi Sunak described how accelerating defense industrial cooperation within Europe and across the Atlantic is vital to ensure the nations maintain a technological edge over Russia and protect partners from Russian attacks for generations to come. That will be done, he said, by sending more than 20,000 troops to the region next year, along with 8 Royal Navy ships, 25 aircraft, and airstrike force of Apache, Chinook, and Wildcat helicopters. They will take part in large-scale, multi-country exercises and conduct air policing and polar weather combat training. Very interesting. I don't think that I would consider that a definite that they're going to wait until next year. I have a feeling you're about to see this deployment happen. Again, they're going to take anything they can while they can. They're going to absolutely try to further their positions everywhere on the planet while all eyes are on Israel. They're masters at this. Keep getting ready, folks. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. Not a single one of us can tell you by who or necessarily when. But I think we all know what season it is. Shalom.